This program has been brought to you thanks to the generous contributions of our patrons on Patreon. Your patronage is greatly appreciated. And for more content like this, be sure to check out the Modern Alchemist channel on Patreon.
Shall we begin? Let's begin now.
As some of you probably know, I had originally considered skipping Chapter 1 in favor of getting into some more meaty content in Chapter 2 and onward. Then, upon rereading Chapter 1, I hit this paragraph. In this little book, of which this is the first lesson, we invite our students to examine into the Hermetic teachings as set forth in the Kybalion, and as explained by ourselves, humble students of the teachings who, while bearing the title of initiates, are still students at the feet of Hermes, the Master. We herein give you many of the maxims, axioms, and precepts of the Kybalion, accompanied by explanations and illustrations which we deem likely to render the teachings more easily comprehended by the modern student, particularly as the original text is purposely veiled in obscure terms. And then things changed. I was like, oh. And so here we are. We'll get back to the significance of this section as we progress, but for now, let's break down Chapter 1, start to finish. As with any occult text of significance, the Kybalion sets forth its authenticity in a manner to evoke confidence while at the same time illustrating the nature of occult texts in general. That being that they can simultaneously reveal one thing while leaving more significant concepts concealed. It informs the reader of the credentials of the author or authors in question and gives the reader a sense of purpose. In other words, this is what the outcome of reading this text will provide. As we shall see in Chapter 1, the Kybalion does all of these things, which classically are qualifiers that this is a sacred occult text. Chapter 1, the Hermetic Philosophy. The lips of wisdom are closed, except to the ears of understanding. The Kybalion. From old Egypt have come the fundamental esoteric and occult teachings which have so strongly influenced the philosophies of all races, nations, and peoples for several thousand years. Egypt, the home of the pyramids and the Sphinx, was the birthplace of the hidden wisdom and the mystic teachings. From her secret doctrine all nations have borrowed. India, Persia, Chaldea, Media, China, Japan, Assyria, ancient Greece and Rome, and other ancient countries partook liberally at the feast of knowledge which the hierophants and masters of the land of Isis so freely provided for those who came prepared to partake of the great store of mystic and occult lore which the masterminds of that ancient land had gathered together. All right, so what we have here is a central or core thesis of this text, the Kybalion, and that is that regardless of where you may be from, regardless of what core or central culture you may be from, what you have drawn upon as your core of esoteric wisdom, whether it's drawn from India or China or Greece or Rome or Persia, Japan, all of these areas, the Middle East, that they all are sourced from the same material. regardless of the language spoken, regardless of the imagery and symbolism employed, all of them are essentially speaking the same esoteric language, utilizing the same esoteric narrative. This is of extraordinary significance because what this alludes to then is that a diaspora has taken place. And I would suggest to you that this diaspora of information has taken place many, many times, where consistent with the principle of rhythm, that there was an inflow and an outflow, and an inflow and an outflow, and that it like a heartbeat. And so this information has gone out into multiple sources, into multiple venues, wearing multiple garments, so that it might be absorbed or utilized by any number of peoples, regardless of their culture, regardless of their history. Because this information, these ideas, these concepts, these principles are what unify all of us, regardless of our paternal and maternal heritage. We are the beneficiaries, the descendants to which all of this ancestral knowledge flows. And it is a mistake to assume an ethnocentric perspective when dealing with or utilizing matters of esoteric or occult significance.